Morning, guys. Bobby here with Blount County Adventures. The adventures start in the shop doing maintenance work. You don't wait till you get on the water. You don't wait till you get in the woods. Check out your equipment. You'll make for a much better day doing it ahead of time. So we're going to show you a little bit about checking the Jeep out, what I do for bolt check every time I take the Jeep out before I go. Appreciate y'all watching. Stay tuned. This is our 91 YJ. We've had it about 10, 11 years. Been doing all kind of work to it here and there. It's like I said before, it's good to have it maintained when you're on the trail, make it reliable. First thing we're going to do is grease the front end and check for any slack in the bearings. Alright, we're going to pull this cap off the end of the bearings here. We're going to grease our RCV axles. I don't do this every ride, but I try to do it every couple of rides. Next, after I get it greased, I like to jack up both sides and check the kingpin bearings, anything for this might have a bunch of play in it. It's better to find it in here than on the trail. Let's do it on that side. Just checking for any kind of movement play. Bearing, bushing, everything's good there. Next we'll move on to the fluids and under the hood. I visually inspect my battery cables, wires right here. Make sure nothing's corroded or loose or out of place. I look at my exhaust bolts here. Might check them when we get down. Well, I'll check my motor mounts when we're underneath, but check all your exhaust bolts. Just kind of visual look. Anything that's looks out of place or broken off, or a wire rubbing, or a hose rubbing, or anything that's going to give you trouble later. sure the coolant's topped off. Take the power steering. I like to make sure my level's just a little above where the filter is. Change the filter, twice a year. Brake fluid. You'll generally know when it's low, but I just like to put my eyes on it. Air filter's good. I'll clean it as needed, depending on how dusty it is, or definitely when you change the oil. And I just want to make sure all my plug wires don't look like they're touching anything. It's gonna get them hot and melt. That's happened a few times here and there. These rigs bounce around a lot. Check the belt real good. Make sure it don't look like it's got any cracks, tears, anything of that nature in it. Check the oil. Last thing I do is after I'm done checking everything underneath, and I'll crank it up and check the transmission fluid. Let it get hot. Everything looks squared away into there, best you can tell. You can ask anybody that rides with me or sees us out on the trails. I think that they would tell you that this old Jeep's been a very reliable Jeep. It's a good trail riding Jeep. I'm gonna check my lug nuts. I'll just check a few of them, make sure the torque's still good. I've seen plenty of people lose a wheel in the woods. I don't necessarily check every single one, but I at least spot check 4 on each side. And I also check the torque on the high steer arms every ride. I can't tell you how many people I've been in the woods with and lose. They break a bolt off, or had one that was loose, and then we're stuck in the woods. I used to just tighten them every time, but I think I was over tightening them. I actually had one that broke. So now I make sure I just use a torque wrench. I do 80 pounds as a check. Since we went to these reed knuckles, really hadn't had any problems with the high steel arm coming loose. This being a YJ, underneath the Jeep, I check the frame everywhere. We got the link bars, tabs mounted to. Check inside and outside on the frame. Check your skid plates where they bolt to the frame. I grease any grease fittings that I may have under here. I don't have a lot left anymore, but I do have one on or 2 on the drive shafts. I check both ends of my link bars. Make sure the jam nuts haven't loosened up on anything. Check for any play in the universal joints, drive shafts. Just check for any leaks if you may have under here. Probably every 6 months we change the oil and do good maintenance, tear down. I'll take the skid plates off if I hadn't already dropped them before then. I check all my transmission bolts, my mounts. I don't do that every single ride, but I do it twice a year. And there's also a carrier bearing on this one. that I will change out every 6 months just to keep it good. So it keeps me not being stuck on the trail, hopefully. Takes a lot of grease. You don't think you think you're wasting it, I guess, but I keep pumping grease in that until it comes out all the way around, not just right at the fitting. I found one jam nut loose right here. Show you what I'm talking about. So you can just spin it with your fingers. I don't know if y'all can see it real well, but just the jam nut on the end. And I just get under here, and that one's finger loose. So I'm gonna tighten that up here in just a minute. Check all my fans, make sure they're bolted good to the frame. Here's where I check my welds each time. We've plated this frame inside and out, front and back. I don't know if you can see right there, that piece of metal where we've plated it. Just to reinforce the frame. We've had cracks over time. These things, you know, they get drove pretty rough terrain. Make sure I got a power steering cooler under here and a transmission cooler. You just make sure, you know, your lines ain't got backed off and loose and dripping, or fans, the coils don't look muddy and stopped up, or all that good stuff that's you'll find on the trail. Check my motor mount bolts, where they bolt into the motor, and the welds on the frame where they put tube to the frame to hold it in. I have learned a lot of these lessons the hard way from either myself or seeing other people in the woods broke down. It don't take very long if you'll just do it, you know, take 30 minutes, 45 minutes each ride and inspect what you got. I've also had brake lines loose So I'll check the tightness of where the brake line screws down. Once you get in a, I guess I hate to say a ritual, but a routine. Once you get a good routine going, it really doesn't take that long. I mean, I keep all my tools that I need in a separate little bag that I do to use for my bolt check. I keep it all together so I ain't looking for it every time. And just get it out and do what I need to do. Also check my front and rear diff, make sure they ain't leaking, wheel seals, just doing a real good visual every ride. And then, like I said, every 6 months, drop the skid plates, check U-bolts. I check the pinion bolts. I check every bolt under here just about. You gotta check where your heims, link bars mount. You gotta show everything a little attention on these off-road vehicles. They rough areas, they're treated rough. In my toolkit that I keep handy for these bolt checks, I got the crescent wrench and the cutoff wrench where I can get in here and tighten these jam nuts up. I have seen these back off and people will lose a link bar or something in the woods. It's very important to keep an eye on. Use the crescent wrench to hold it. Keep it from spinning. Make sure they're all still just good and tight. Well, I think that's about got it for this one. I'm gonna crank up the Jeep and check the transmission fluid once it gets warm. Other than that, I'll gas it up, check the air in the tires. This thing should be ready to take out in the woods for the next round. It's not always this easy. Luckily, we didn't really come into no problems today. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But it's better to find them here than in the woods. Appreciate you watching. These videos will get better as we go along. Just hang in there with me. Thank y'all.